Hey everyone, my name is Phil.
I'm Erika.
And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, our very first tier list. Let's dive in. Okay, so for this tier list, we are going to be taking a look at a lot of the content that we've already watched on this channel, movies, shows, and we're going to be ranking the best character arcs for some of the biggest characters in these shows. So yeah, have you ever done a tier list or anything like that?
No.
Yeah, me neither. But we're going to figure it out together and then we'll kind of see where it goes. The category here is the arc of a character, their development. And here are the different lists, the different tiers that we have. So for S tier, that's legendary growth. Like they grew like a completely different person from beginning to end. Okay. A tier is remarkable evolution, just kind of a step below. B is...
Step below, oh, just a step below legendary growth.
Yeah. Okay. Like, I think when we get someone in S tier, like that becomes the bar. It's like, okay, are they that level of transformation? No, then, you know. Okay. B is solid development. It's kind of like middle of the pack. There was something there, but you know, there could have been more. It didn't really get to where we needed them to get to. C, there were some subtle changes. And then D, static or stunted, like nothing happened. They didn't develop at all. We were kind of disappointed with it. Whatever. Okay. All right, so we got Hermione Granger. Hermione.
Miss Granger.
All right, so where did she start? She was like this know-it-all.
She's still kind of a know-it-all. She was always a bit of a know-it-all. She's not as like, by the end of it, she wasn't as annoying about it. She was just like...
She was annoying in a different way,
about it. She was just
still annoying.
Throughout, but at the very end, I thought she was pretty helpful. I don't recall her being like, I don't remember being too annoyed by her in like the 6 or 7, 8. I think there's definitely been some development because, like, I don't know, she was a child, so...
So just like physically.
Not just only physically, but she was obviously a bit more mature, like, kind of like a know-it-all.
The thing that she was at the beginning, where like she needs to be the most intelligent in the room or that kind of thing. I don't know if she ever let go of that, like to me. Like for me, like just to get things started as a conversation point, I'm putting her at like C. Because I don't really see much change other than like the physical.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Maybe near the end, she was more open to being a rule breaker because she had to. Like life or death kind of thing.
Well, yeah, it's like, yeah, maybe that's it. She was a stickler for rules in the beginning, and then she knew, obviously, there's something greater than school grades. Okay. All right. Neville Longbottom. Bruh, this guy really stepped it up.
I'm going to put him at A.
It's got to be A. Pretty, a legendary is...
That's what I'm saying.
I have to see what else is here.
And also, we don't... The reason I'm putting him at A and not S is because, like, he had huge development. Like, he was like he was like this nervous guy. He was getting made fun of, and by the end, he's the one that kills Nagini. Like that kind of huge growth. But then we didn't see enough of him in between in the movies to see like what else he became. The little flashes you saw of him, he was suddenly this person. So we weren't on that journey with him. You know what I mean? Yeah.
But you know what? Now that I'm thinking more about his character, I actually don't recall as much him not being brave. I think a lot of the scenes he's in...
Even the beginning, he was standing up to...
Yeah, he's always been brave. It's just that he was a child, so he was a bit more, I don't know, like the way he came off was a bit more nervous, but he was always brave.
He had courage, but he wasn't a leader until the end. Maybe because of that. Like, sure, the confidence was always there, but he didn't become a leader until the later movies. And then, obviously, at the end, that was like that huge... Like, saying that to Voldemort, like what he was like saying, like that last stand kind of speech.
Yeah, I'm gonna go A.
Yeah, I'm happy with A.
Okay, next.
Rick Grimes. So full disclosure, where we are, at least in our watch series, is just past 7X. Like we're at 7X2. Yeah, so the big episode that everybody is thinking about already happened. So we have seen that. That's kind of where we are when we're recording this.
I'm gonna give an A.
A, interesting. Why?
Yeah.
Let's put him there for now.
You don't think so?
Oh, sorry. Where was he at the beginning?
He was a badass, but the way he is handling walkers now, and just to be clear, this whole growth and like evolution, this whole thing, does that necessarily mean it's positive?
No.
Okay, so I stand by A.
Yeah, it can be how we define it.
He went from Rick Grimes to Shane to maybe even worse, maybe even more.
worse.
Aggressive. And then being broken by Negan.
Yeah. For me, I don't feel like there's been much growth with him.
Maybe I'm confusing. Maybe I'm confusing growth with just like how much he's been through, and just assuming that because he's
S tier for what he's been through, but I don't know if that's like
I think I just automatically think in my mind because he's gone through so much and he's overcome. That's gotta mean some growth.
Either B or C for me, for Rick. Probably C.
Okay. Subtle?
I think he was like what the characteristics that we see in him that like make him really cool. I think they were always there, and he was like a good leader, like a good organizer. Like even
so he's always been a good leader. That's why.
Yeah. What's changed is his mentality about the people who are living.
But it changed the way he leads.
Yeah. So.
And changes the way he takes risks.
Right. I'm happy to put him in B then.
Okay.
Harry Potter.
Listen. This has got to be legendary, right?
Okay, I'll put him there right now. You convince me. I'm not there yet.
Well, from the very beginning, he didn't even know he was a friggin' wizard, and then by the end, he kills the friggin' Dark Lord. Like, what? He becomes a master of death. He had all three at one point.
Okay, no, but those are accomplishments. It's not like his character. What did he change? Like, if you get all three, you become the master of death, but like, did he fundamentally change who he was? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. I think he went through a lot of trauma and overcame it and used all of that to defeat the Dark Lord.
Because like movie one, he was courageous. He was always like that guy.
He's always had courage. He's always been like, for the most part, like kind to his, like, you know, his day ones. But I just think of like meeting him in the first movie, this kid who was like forced into submission by his relatives. He was basically like serving, like, you know, he's like their slave.
Yeah.
To this guy who, yeah, like I said, defeats the Dark Lord. Like, I feel like maybe I'm confusing this with like, I think I'm just seeing the trauma that people have gone through and the fact that they've overcome. I'm like, well, they deserve.
Yeah, I don't think that's enough. Like, unless that overcoming comes with like a huge change to how they behave. Like,
and I guess he's always behaved.
And maybe there is something there because like what I'm seeing with like he was willing to die at the end, like for the betterment of the entire like the wizarding realm, right? Like he was willing to, like he was talking to his parents and everyone, like he was like ready to die, like actually, like he wasn't expecting that Avada to not kill him. And what I'm trying to figure out is that different at all? Like that kind of decision, is that different at all from anything he would have done from book one? And it's a more mature decision. Like, I don't think he would have been thinking about that.
Maturity.
But is that growth? Or is that, you know, that's the part, I think that's kind of how I'm thinking about growth.
And you're thinking more growth in character, not growth in his magical skills, growth.
I mean, yeah, that could be part of it, but I think
his
more
leadership.
So. Leadership could be, yeah. I'll change the order of what we do next, just so that we can kind of set the bar for S. But I don't think Harry is S. I don't know if his character really changed from the beginning to the end. I think he was always that I care about my friends, I'm putting them first, I'm going to be courageous for the good. Like year one, he was putting hands on Voldemort. Like, that's wild. Right? How old is he? 11?
You're right. You know what? You're not wrong.
Right? So like the fact that he's like facing Voldemort in the final movie, willing to die, I think he was doing that in book one.
You're right. His values have definitely stayed pretty consistent. Yeah. Okay, you're convincing me.
B?
I say solid.
Yeah. Next one I want to do, I'll change up the order. Richie. So I'm going to solidly put him in S in that arc.
Yeah, man, because he was like a dirtbag in the beginning. He was. Oh, I just couldn't stand him sometimes.
Like, I think the people who do well in this kind of conversation are like people who have layers, right? It's not that they're just written as terrible people. They're written as terrible people because of something, right? And I think Richie had that. Like, he was a dirtbag, but he was also going through a lot with like his divorce, his kid, his best friend committing suicide. Like, all of that stuff was part of who he is. But yeah, so Richie, like where he was at the beginning to where he was at this current point where like he cares about what he's doing and he found purpose in the work, and you know, just cheering for him and like Forks. That was like,
I know.
It was such a great moment.
Yeah.
So I think he's S tier.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's no telling like how far he's gonna come from here on out. Like if this is his new foundation, the fact that he's setting these standards for him, like he's actually setting standards of excellence. Oh my gosh, so proud. Like it's so opposite.
The episode after Forks, where like that was like, we thought that was the hype, but then the next episode he was like interviewing people and testing them with like, that was like,
it's like this guy.
He cares, and he's wearing suits not because it's like a uniform. It's like, no, it makes him feel better about himself. Like he's taking steps that he recognizes that there's things about him that he needs to like change, or like at least try to get more self-esteem somehow, and like that's how he does it.
Yeah.
And that's something that I don't think he would ever even contemplate doing when he was like just Richie Bad News. Nate.
Oh.
Nate from Ted Lasso.
Oh, I don't like who he became.
But
it's definitely. Oh, how'd it go in the end again?
Redemption. He came back to Richmond.
Oh, he came back.
He apologized.
Oh,
He left Rupert because Rupert was trying to hook him up with models, and then like he quit his dream job.
Oh my gosh, is he legendary?
I feel like it's A. I feel like he's A or S or A.
He couldn't even talk. He couldn't even talk to you. I think he's S too.
Yeah, he couldn't talk at the beginning. Like he was scared, and then he became the Wonder Kid.
Yeah.
He became the head coach of, oh my gosh,
that team,
West Ham, and then even within his arc at West Ham, it was crazy because it was like he was like this terrible person, but then he started gaining morals and he started missing what.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah, and the confidence that he built actually at West Ham, even though, you know, it wasn't directed in, I don't know, the nicest way. And then he got that girl that he wanted.
Yeah. And I think the biggest part was when I think it was the finale, like when he said sorry to Ted. Like, that's such, like, I think beyond anything that happened, that was probably the toughest thing that he had to do because of what he did to him.
I think that and patching things up with his dad.
And like telling him that he didn't feel like he felt like his dad didn't love him, like he didn't like care about what he was doing, like that, like to have the courage to do that, starting from where he was just kind of like this, you know, quiet, nervous guy.
Dude,
that was great. I think that's development, right?
Yeah, you're right.
And and he's a good example of like it went both ways. Like even if he was just the West Ham dude, I still think that's a crazy arc from where he started.
Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
Next, Janine. Where's Janine? I'm gonna stick her around D for right now.
I'm gonna say there are subtle changes. She makes better fashion choices.
There were changes, okay. Yeah, when she first started, she was very like, yeah, I guess the biggest change is the fashion.
That's the biggest. I think the rest is the same.
She was like really green as a teacher at the beginning. And then she started like maturing, getting the lessons, like learning from Barbara and Mr. Menti.
Yeah.
But I think subtle changes. Okay, Nate Jacobs.
Who is this? Nate Jacobs. Oh my
Euphoria.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
It gets complex.
What happened to him? At the end, what did he do?
He
was actually.
Yeah.
See, I feel bad for Nate Jacobs.
He kind of apologized to Jules. And like gave her back the tape and everything, and then turned in his dad. So he was a terrible person, but that's kind of where he ended up.
Oh man, this might be a long conversation.
This one's tough.
Because
there's trauma there.
But
right?
like even though he kind of did the right thing at the end.
I put him in B right now so I don't have to hold on to it, and then we can move on.
Yeah. I don't know, like, I don't know how to articulate what I'm trying to say. I know he did a couple right things at the end, but I don't see that as true character development. I think he just had the courage to actually do it, but I think he's still a dick.
Yeah.
Like I can't see him like stopping the way that he talks to people just because he did that. I think he turned in his dad, but he's still an angry kid. Or like he apologized to Jules, but I think in a relationship he would still be a toxic boyfriend.
Yeah. I think at the end, like, he was kind of, but I think he was also confronting and being a bit more real about why he has the urges that he has and, like, why he's, like, confused sexually.
I'm trying to remember.
'Cause I think he said that he really did, like...
He was into her, right?
He was really into Jules. I don't know if he, like, loved her, but, like, it was real what he was, like, when he was texting her. And he did what he had to do because he knows how to manipulate and he knows how to get out of situations. I think there were changes. There were enough changes there that made me feel like there was development.
Yeah.
But...
Okay, we'll do solid then.
Okay. That's a good one.
If there's a between a B and a C.
B and a C. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. And honestly, like, it's just a feeling right now. Like, I don't know how to put words to why I feel that way. And it could also be like, I'm just maybe not remembering much. We watched it a long time.
That was a while ago, yeah. We have Gregory.
Static.
Really? Remember when he first started? He didn't want to be a teacher.
Okay, fine. Subtle changes. I just don't see much.
Really? I think there's a little bit more. He's connecting with students now. He cares. He actually cares about what's happening.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like before.
I forgot about that.
I'm gonna put him in a B.
He was like a robot.
Yeah, and now he really dances with them. He cares about their development. Like he's like creating programs for kids, like the gardening program.
Okay.
Getting funding for it. So.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, he's like an educator now. It's not just a job. Okay.
Or like a downgrade because they want to be a principal, right?
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Cool. Coral. I think this one's big.
This one's big too.
I think this
He grew up so fast.
In more ways than one, right?
Yeah. Solid or remarkable? Maybe more towards remarkable.
Yeah. Okay. Why remarkable?
Oh my gosh. So he was a mere child. It seemed like he always had a lot of courage. Always wanted to fight, do more. And I think maybe just because of how his parents had to get used to this world, that's why he was able to finally have his shot to be like a significant contributor to the group. But like to see him like go on his own, like I think he's always had that courage, but now it's like I have this skill. Yeah. And then also the maturity piece of like understanding that he can't do it on his own either.
I don't know, the one example I kind of go to, like beyond just his physical capability, and I think that definitely went up, is because I think he fundamentally changed after he had to kill Laurie. And I think when there's like a huge change in like who you are, then like it kind of catches my attention a little bit more. Like from that point on, like he kind of got cold. He kind of got, like, depending on who he was with, he was a lot more mature in the things that he had to deal with, and his ideas of life and death and what matters and what doesn't kind of changed. And I think that kind of informed a lot of his decisions. Because like, I don't know, like early on the farm, he was like, remember he yelled at Carol about her being stupid for believing in heaven because she was mourning Sophia.
Damn.
And then later on, he's having a conversation with Carol again, being like, oh, maybe they're in heaven together, like all that kind of stuff. So like it changes. I think he had more development than his dad, which is why if we're putting his dad at B, I put him at A.
Okay.
Right. Ted Lasso.
Subtle.
Okay, let's leave him here for now. He was always this positive guy.
Always. Right? He's never like broken away from that. I think
the development piece is
the mental health side,
and him acknowledging that he needs help. Like when the team doctor came in, the team psychologist came in, and that kind of like breaking that down and addressing that there is a problem. There is like he's masking a lot of like the trauma that he did face. Yeah. And actually starts facing it and like talks to this, like taking this job as therapy, like instead of just like, are we being stupid? Am I being crazy? Like, no, I did this because I needed to get away and all that kind of stuff. So I think him actually admitting that was a thing that he's doing and he's working through was pretty big.
And getting over his separation.
And then also coming to the realization, like he had the best job. Like he was like one of the most sought after coaches at that point, and realized that I don't have to run anymore. Like from like he was scared of like what that situation was gonna look like, and now he's like, no, I'm going back. I'm gonna be a dad. That's what I should be. And I think he needed that time away to figure that out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm good with subtle changes because he's always been that dude. He's always been that great coach, great leader that's never wavered.
Jamie Tartt.
Ooh.
This one was a good one. I'm going to start at A.
Oh. Okay. I mean, so he started out being like arrogant,
selfish
player, selfish, ball hog, cocky, not a team player. I think he like more viewed women as objects.
Keely.
Yeah. He seemed to really love Keely, but
yeah. And then he turned out being somebody that just needed people.
Yeah, like recognize how insecure and lonely he actually was, and recognizing how to be a team player.
Right.
And like be humble enough to ask for help.
Yeah. I think his entire arc was defined. It happened in the first and last episodes. The very first episode, he was wearing a hat that said icon. And the very last episode, he wore the exact same hat, but the letters changed and it said ICOG. Like I'm a cog in the system. I'm not.
Wow.
So it's like that was the change, right? It was a selfish person to a person that is a part of a team, is part of a collective, and that fundamentally changed all of his relationships. I mean, it flirts with Legendary.
It flirts with. I'm trying to like reason why he's not at Legendary, and I'm like comparing him to Rick and Nate, and I think Rick and Nate had way more humble beginnings.
Yeah, I like that.
Those guys always had it made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's why.
I think that's fair. Yeah, they had more to overcome, the other two, in S tier.
Yeah.
Mark. I forgot his last name. Mark S.
Scout.
Mark S. I'm gonna start with no. I'll start with C. No, I'm gonna start with B. This is tough.
I'm trying to remember how he developed. So.
Well, he was a part of the system. He didn't.
Wait, are we talking about the outie or innie both? Like, this is what's tripping me out.
Oh, okay. For him in particular, it's tough.
Because there's two of them.
We spend the most time with the innie. Let's talk about the innie.
Well, then there's some pretty solid development then, because he was just like.
He was like company man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Through and through. It seemed like he was curious before, but just had given up.
What made him start questioning it? Was it the book, was it before that? Like when he found the book?
I think maybe it's a combination of that, finding the map from PD.
Oh, right. But yeah, by the end of it, he was like kind of leading the charge. With like, we need to figure this out. And like he's the one that came up with a plan of them, what they're gonna do when they're out, all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think that alone is huge development. The fact that he was willing to make that change.
Yeah, take some big risks.
Huge risks. Yeah.
I think the reason why, like, that's a lot. Now that we're talking it through.
Yeah.
But I think the reason why.
Like he was, like.
Yo, I think the only reason why I don't put him at A is because we're only done season 1.
Right.
Like I feel like there's still so much more. There's so much more room for.
Yeah.
To see him at Remarkable, but after what we just said, that's pretty big.
Yeah, like by the end of that season, like he wasn't afraid to go to the break room anymore. Like when Milchick caught them outside of their confines, he's like, we weren't doing anything wrong. He was like talking back to them. So I mean, I'd bump him. You want to keep him at B? I'm okay with keeping him at B. I would be okay with him at A as well. I think that was a huge change.
It was huge.
Yeah, I'm gonna put him at A.
Maybe A.
Tina.
Oh, Tina, my girl Tina.
Like everyone will start at B, but
no, you gotta start at A.
Really? You think? Okay. Because she started out obviously this. We could take into account her backstory, I guess. We have to.
Of course.
But like when we met her, she was
rough around the edges.
She didn't want change. She obviously loved the family.
Yeah.
She loved Richie. She loved Mikey because of what they did for her. And she just did not care about the job. She didn't care about the people, especially like Sid and
yeah, she was feisty.
Yeah.
Hated change.
Did not want anything to change. She thought it was stupid. And
so
then
rude about it.
And like yeah, she was really rude about it. But then how she started treating, like, I think the change started with Sid. Like when Sid started showing her respect and like, I don't know, she was expecting to be torn down about like her work, and Sid was kind of edifying her.
Yeah, recognizes her talent.
Spoke into that, like she let her be the sous chef.
Yeah.
Right? Or like, right? It was sous chef, I think. And
even what's the main guy? Oh my gosh.
Carmen
letting her have her knife. I feel like letting her have his knife.
Yeah,
I feel like
chef.
Was so
big.
Yeah. Like that's Carmi's.
Yeah.
And yeah, just giving it to her is like, that was such a momentous.
And it was cool when she was training up her new staff, like her new chefs. None of them are there anymore, but still, like it was cool, like to have her be the leader. And like before, like she was just taking orders and like being a part of this team, but now she's like leading a team.
Yeah.
And like taking pride in it, like really like taking it seriously, like staying after hours to work on her own cooking, her own dishes.
Yeah.
Something you would never have seen before.
Exactly. And I think too, like her recognizing change in everybody else was helpful too. Like, oh, maybe I should hop on this train.
Yeah.
Everyone's better around these guys.
Yeah, like so much better. Okay, Joel, Last of Us. The very first show we did on this channel.
Way back.
It's something we should revive because it's coming back soon.
It is?
It is.
Oh, it's coming back.
Yeah, his daughter.
Lost his daughter. Okay, so he was cold.
He was really cold, and he was kind of operating, not selfishly, but he was like, it was all just survival, just for him and the people that were around him. He didn't really care about that. And then this girl comes into his life. Yeah. And he starts changing. He starts opening up about that a little bit more, and then caring, like loving this girl.
Yeah, really cares about her, yeah.
Like
his daughter.
Yeah, and then by the end of it, like, do you remember how it ended?
No.
Where he took her to like the Firefly place, and they were essentially just going to kill her because they wanted to study how she was immune.
Oh.
And he broke her out of that facility. Yeah, like to a point where he was like living kind of selfishly, to the point where like he's sacrificing so much for somebody else. But also still being selfish, because the fact that he did that,
just for him.
It was for him.
Do I remember correctly that she wanted to do it. Yeah. And he took it away from her.
I think he lied about.
You're right.
He lied about what happened. So it was still a selfish decision at the end of the day. So he was still being that person, but it just happened to, be with someone else. So
maybe subtle changes then.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he's still the same dude. It's just a different outlet now.
Yeah. Carol.
Yo, is this legendary? Is my girl? It's got to be S.
I'm happy with that. And we haven't seen the.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We haven't seen one.
Like we're in season 7, so like we don't know.
So there's probably more.
But when we met her, she was being beat by Ed. She was quiet. She was not really talking much, but she would just show up with like fresh bruises.
Just submissive.
Yeah. And then she's like saved the group so many times at this point, like single-handedly.
So badass, man.
She freaking directed fireworks to hit a tank. like all these crazy things that she did on her own.
Playing up characters.
Yeah, in Alexandria.
I just like never even expected that. Like, wow, that's like actually smart. Like in another group to act that way.
Because she knows what she looks like to people, right? She's like this older woman. She's probably weak, like all that kind of stuff. So it's easy to kind of get in with people. But she's also like, there's also a lot of stuff going on with her. Like she was really soft and now she's very hard, but to a point where it's also damaging to relationships. right? Like she was a huge member of this group, and now it's also coming to a point where it's like maybe it's gotten too hard to be a part of a group, right? Like she killed 2 people inside of the prison without telling anybody, without consent, without like, yeah, she had her reasons for ruthless. It, but like, you know, so, but it's not positive or negative in terms of growth. It's like growth, and I think, yeah, I think it's fair for us.
Yeah.
Like it's huge development.
Yeah.
It started like kind of random, like out of nowhere. She's like this crazy shot, like she's like a sniper out of nowhere, and then from then on, it was like she was like always like one of the strongest. But I'm happy with it.
Greg. Oh gosh, Greg. Yeah, start him off at B.
The first time we met him, he was in that mascot uniform, throwing up.
But he's always been like that moocher.
Yeah, this
Weasley. Always.
The only thing, the moment I'm thinking of, I'm pointing to, is when he told Kendall about Shiv, like backstabbing, and then like he walked away and like looked at Shiv and was like that kind of like gall,
shrug.
The gall to do that.
Yeah.
That was huge. That's a moment of growth for him. Like that's not the Weasley guy that he has been throughout this series.
No. I think he's always had that, sure, we'll call it Weasley, characteristic that this whole family has. But he's learned to play the game the way that they do. And that's the development. But in terms of his character, I feel like he's always, and maybe some confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just smarter about being a Weasel and gained some confidence in that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think through and through, he's not like a great guy.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
Because even at the end, like he was, like when he was at the bar with Mattson and his team, and they're speaking Swedish, like he broke out Google Translate so he could understand what they were saying. Like little things, like it's really smart things. And I don't know if that's he always had that.
I think he always did. That's my belief.
Yeah, but the idea to do it and to be strategic about what that could mean for you, like, oh, this is a leverage thing that I can use. I think he learned a little bit of that from Logan, right? Like, remember he had that one negotiation with Logan, and he was like, "What can you do for me?" And I was like, "What?"
The balls, eh? I think I was surprised every single time because his delivery
is always so.
He's like a Neville,
nervous.
Right? Like so nervous, but like wow, he's got balls.
Yeah.
But he's always had that. I feel like in the beginning, he's like would ask like, "Oh, well," like he's just shooting a shot.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's always tried that. Yeah, I think so.
Solid. Okay, Ava. Ava Coleman. So when we meet her, she's like this person. She obviously doesn't really care about what's going on in the school. She's just there because, I don't really know.
It's a job.
Yeah. Like she
pays better than being a teacher.
She like weaseled her way into that job.
Yes. Yeah.
By like blackmailing.
Yeah.
But right now, she cares about the work to the point where she's like giving speeches at the school board, and she's like people are like really liking the development that's happening at her school, where her teachers are even giving her props for the things that she's doing, even though they equally get mad at her for the things that she does. But there's nuggets there.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't think that was really a thing early on for her, where it's like she just didn't.
She like legit did not care and was very selfish. Like she used this job to benefit her and not to serve the staff or the students.
Right. Yeah, like I think that attitude was primarily what she was, whereas now that attitude is the punchline to jokes. Right? Like now it's like she'll use that kind of attitude to make a joke about Janine. Whereas before it's like that's all she was.
Right.
And that's all her function was in the show.
Yeah.
But now she's like, no, like I could do this. I can tell people what I'm doing. But like, yeah. Okay,
Actually, oh snap! I was gonna say
B?
Let's leave her at B, but definitely not C.
Is A too much? I think it's a flip. I would argue A.
She's still like super selfish though. She still has her like side projects, like she still is not qualified.
I don't know. She went to school. Like she's learning. She's applying.
Go to school. I forgot about that.
Right? Like she's applying what she's learning. It doesn't always go well, but she's like trying. Right?
No,
so like,
you're right. You're right.
A for Ava. Carmen.
Oh shoot. Not much.
Really?
I don't think there's that much change.
You put him in D?
No, definitely not D.
See?
I don't think he's static.
I feel like it's kind of going backwards with him. Like when he
He's
first started at the Bear, he was like very. Oh, sorry, at the Beef. He was very much like he was about the team and the community of the team, and now he's kind of sliding back into his New York mentality of like everything has to be perfect. Like you're not moving quick enough. Hands, like all that kind of stuff. Whereas like before, he was teaching them, and he was kind of like, and like trying to nurture this group. Whereas now it's like, now he's turning into his old bosses that he didn't like. Yeah. Like the worst parts of those.
I think, okay, so he's still like the typical like obsessive chef, like trying to get these stars type of guy.
Which I think he wasn't that in the first few seasons. Remember? Like he's like, I don't care about those. Like
he doesn't? He said
like
that?
the stars are BS. He was telling Sid, like it's a trap.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was like, because Sid really wanted one. He's like, no, it's a trap. And now he's like...
trapped himself.
I know. I think because of the Claire stuff, he kind of changed. I don't really understand it, but...
Like he is doing a bit more... Like before it was like completely avoidant. Like doesn't want to be around his family, like completely. And then now he's like... Yeah, it didn't happen overnight, obviously, but he has slowly opened up and now has a decent relationship with Sugar. Not yet with the mom. He's always been a solid chef. And
more than that, I think he's always been he's been excellent.
Yeah. Excellent chef. Leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hit or miss.
I think it's gotten worse. Like it was good.
He has gotten worse. He's gotten worse for sure.
So I don't know. There's still but that in terms of an arc, there's still like I think there's development there. But I'd say it's solid. I think there's
I'd say so too. He's complex, like...
Yeah, but he has changed from beginning to end. And it's a really interesting... like, what that change... It's not just a change for the change's sake. Like, it's added such an interesting dynamic to the show. Because everybody else is also dealing with that change in him. Right? It wasn't just the change from the Beef to the Bear. It's also, like, everybody had to level up. And I don't think he was, like... communicative about that change to people. Like people were like walking in, they're like, what? Like we're doing a new menu every day, we're doing all this kind of stuff. And even like taking it further, I mean like why? I don't even know what I'm saying. But Tom Wambsgans. It's a C or a D. I'm gonna start with C and then you can talk me out of it.
I don't know.
I think he's been the same.
I think he's been the same dude.
Like I think
he's been the same dude, tried different approaches, but innately, same guy.
And he was like truthful about it in like the final season when he was like talking to Shiv. He's like, I like my money. I like chasing money. Like this is who I am.
He was way more upfront about it.
Yeah, and he was always a good business person. Like he got to where he got for a reason, and he showed flashes of that throughout the series. Whereas like his business acumen was there. So it made sense for him to be the one that won this game, right? But I don't think he changed. I think he's fundamentally always that person. And
okay, I'll say this. I think it was always fundamentally that person. I think the subtle change that I've seen in him is like setting some boundaries with Shiv, which I respected.
Do you remember that scene of that was so good. Like it was like us. I guess the change is like, yeah, the boundary is like him getting a backbone and like saying what everybody was like yelling at the screen about. Like, yo, like she is not like...
She's not it.
Right? So...
Shiv is not it.
B?
Oh.
Because of that?
No, I was going to say C because of that.
Because he's always the same except for that. Okay, I'm fine with that.
It's like the one thing.
Okay. Glenn Rhee.
He really stepped up in leadership. Like he became the number 2 Rick.
Yeah, Rick noticed it in him like in season 1. Like he was doing all of these things and being really brave because like he was a pizza man, like he knew the ins and outs of the city, like all that. But early on, he was always kind of, because he was so good at being in and out, he was always the default guy that they made do the dangerous things, like go down the well and get the walker that's down there, or go into town and, you know, do a run for us because you're that guy. and he always just did it, and he was being told what to do.
He's always been reasonable as well.
But
I don't know, subtle
he turned
changes?
into a leader.
He did, but I feel like he's always been that guy. From the very beginning, you could tell, oh, this is the main character.
Yeah, and I think what happened in later seasons is that he had something to fight for. Whereas before, it was just he's a member of the group, right? And then when Maggie comes in, there's something for him to fight for. So we have a better understanding of why he's doing what he's doing. Yeah. And more opportunity for it to see that. So
I mean, you could make a case because of that, it's solid development, or because it's only that, it's subtle changes.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Because he's still the same guy. He's just, you're right, like we just see he has more to fight for, so it looks a little different. Maybe.
I'm gonna say solid, because I think past season 1, he's the guy that we've always known. But season 1 to season 2 is when like there was a change, because there were even moments where people were like telling him like you're strong, like you're just as much of a leader in this group as like Rick, and like people had to tell him that, and he didn't really act on it, and eventually he started like walking in those shoes. So I think that change, and then who he is up until obviously 7x1, we see him being a passionate fighter, whereas before he was just someone who's trying to survive. Yeah. And I think that is a very big difference. Yeah. Right.
I'll give him 2 is like he became very skilled.
Yeah. What was he good at though? I guess he just
killing.
Oh my gosh.
Being stealthy.
Remember the governor, like he was like a prisoner, they threw a walker at him. He was tied up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and you're trying to tell me Andrea died. From
should have put Andrea on this list.
From a friggin'
Milton
from Walker. My girl.
You have to hurry. All right.
Oh.
We're good with B?
Yep.
All right. Shiv.
D.
Does she stay the same? Yeah.
How is she different? She's always been this horrible person.
Wow, she's the one that gets D, eh? Like, she was terrible from the beginning. And then the very final moments that we are with her, she kind of backstabs her brothers for power. And she was kind of always on that path before.
She is the most selfish. Well, I was gonna say sibling. Is that too bold?
Like, we have the other 2 siblings coming, so we can talk about that. But Shiv, I don't know, like, yeah, I guess it was selfish, but she also, her act of being selfish there was to give up that leadership to Tom, right? So like give Tom the crown, and she's really effectively the only one that will still be a part of the company because of that choice, because she's married to him. Okay. And because she's having his child. Okay. So I guess that's still solid. It wasn't for, was it for her? I guess it was for her.
I feel like she just conceded and was like, well, I guess if I don't have it, at least I'm married to him.
Yeah. So it's still for her.
I don't see any change in her. I think at the root of everything she's done, it's incredibly selfish.
After this, I gotta watch that scene again.
Cringe.
And watch that.
Oh yeah, when Tom yells at her. Oh my gosh, that felt so good. That was so satisfying.
Okay, Rebecca Welton. This one's a good one.
I would say maybe remarkable.
I'll start her at A. Obviously, I guess the turn was all...
She's been through it.
I think it was all in one season, right? Because I don't know if she's developed much since then.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Then when she became like a better person, she just like stayed that better person.
Which is whatever. That's fine too. But because like where she started, like, vindictive. She doesn't care about who she hurts. Like she's like
all to get back at that guy, her ex.
Yeah, Rupert. Like, but like that was a huge. Like, it's not only Ted. It's like this community that cares about this team. Like, she was willing to ruin it all, burn it to the ground. Yeah. Like, people work for this organization. Like, the players, their pride, all these kinds of things would be impacted because she wanted to do that. And understandable, although not justified. But like, we get where it came from. To admitting it and apologizing and doing whatever she can to work with Ted to make it better for everybody. Like realizing that's a huge change.
Fully getting over Rupert. Yeah. Finding security in herself.
Yeah.
I can't compare her to the 3 in Legendary Growth.
That's the only reason. Because like, especially because these people have multi-season arcs. Where like it took, like they marinated. They like really simmered in how bad they were or whatever. Whereas like hers, like she became this person in one season. And I mean, that's not to say like we're penalizing her for that, but yeah.
I don't think it's penalizing. It's just the reality.
Rue. Rue Bennett.
Can you remind me towards the end, she was like on her road to recovery?
On her road to recovery, as far as we know.
Genuinely?
Yes. So she was talking to her best friend, I don't know who she is to her right now, but about their dads and like their relationships, and then, yeah, she was just...
Her best friend who's her best friend, Jules?
No. The one...
Oh, the other girl. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
They were just talking about that, and then it seemed like she finished off the year sober. And she's trying, like she's tried recovery before, like genuinely, and then fallen off. But that's kind of what recovery looks like. But yeah, trying.
It seems more genuine this time. I was just trying to recall.
It did feel more genuine.
The other times, the one other time that she actually tried was attached to Jules, and this time it's not attached to any one person. Right. It's like she's doing it for herself, her family.
Yeah.
And because I think I just have a heart for substance abuse. Just like we saw how dark that was for her.
They did it so well.
Oh my gosh, I want to cry thinking about it.
Remember the special episodes?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Those were so good.
Well, hers in particular was really good. The other one was okay. But the Rue one was crazy.
Just to see like her worst moments.
Yeah.
Her worst moments. Craving the drugs.
So even just getting to a place where we feel like it's genuine that she's trying. Whereas before, because like we also saw her try, but like it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Right. So like we actually saw what it looked like when she wasn't genuine about it to this. Yeah. So that's a huge, even to just get to that point.
Yeah, even just to get to genuinely wanting to try and taking those steps.
Regardless of if this is the attempt that really gets her there.
Yeah, I think the only thing that's keeping me from putting her in S is like, I would just want to see more of her life. Like, is she in a healthy relationship? Does she get married? Like what does the fruit of her recovery journey look like? Is she mentoring? Is she, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean like, and that could include her having relapses.
Right.
But just to kind of see more fruit in her future.
Right. Because I think the entire series, it was just 2 seasons. And I think it really only covered like a season, like a school year plus a summer. Like it's not even that much time that passed, right? Like, so, so like we didn't really get to see much other than her, just this. Yeah, that's all we really got to see. So the only point of like real development is like her genuinely wanting this. And like
that's everything, y'all.
Exactly. So I think that's because of the stakes of what she was trying to do to get to that change versus everybody else. I think her stakes were like huge. Like, so yeah, I agree with that one. Kendall Roy. L to the OG.
Oh my god.
Sarma V.
Whoa, I forgot about that.
Oh, you don't forget about that. That's burnt into you. All right.
Okay, wow.
Where's the end? He ends in like this place where he was power hungry and he lost. And he's just kind of soul searching at the end. Remember he was sitting on the bench?
See,
kind of where he started.
Him being hungry. Yeah. I was going to say that. Him being hungry to be CEO. That's from day one.
And even before we meet him, right? Like that's just been his identity since he was a kid.
Yeah.
But he held on to that ever since his dad told him that when he was like, he mentioned that like, he told me on my 8th birthday or something like that, that I was going to take over. And that's just been his identity. And then we obviously saw him go through quite a bit, like substance. We saw him like at the lowest of low. We saw him like create a company to try and take him down, like all those kinds of things.
But it seems like he was at through and through from the beginning.
Yeah, I don't see a big change because like
no,
I think there was potential for change, and then at the end, he just reverted back to like really being that shark that he I think always wanted to be, but was never in the position to be.
Right. I think subtle changes.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
And the only subtle change that I would note is, I just feel like we were really impressed with how he handled himself in the media. Sometimes, like when he had certain presentations, like, what?
Yeah, it was like a keynote, and you had to like handle questions or
or to go up there. Yeah, exactly, at the funeral. It was like where you're like, oh, I don't know, how like this is gonna be Kendall, or like, and it was like, oh, it was actually really impressive. But I think that's all I give him.
Okay, fair. Roman Roy.
How did it end again?
Oh, he was happy. Like he obviously
because he's like
outvoted, but he was at a bar, but he was the only one that was like smiling at the end. Like it was kind of like a, I don't know if it was like a joy smile, but at the very least he was just kind of like, he's like drinking and
he's free.
He was free, exactly. So he was this guy that was always like never seriously considered to be the leader. And he was always that. I don't think he ever was seriously considered up until the end.
He developed a lot, though.
He did.
I would give him a solid
A? Oh, a B?
A B. He was such a dick initially, so unserious. Just like, that's the only word I have for it. Just unserious. You're not serious people.
You are not.
He wasn't a serious person. But to see how he came to want to lead and actually put work behind it and like socially just showing what he could do, that was really impressive. And
when they did their own company, he was really the only one that wanted to build the company. Everyone else wanted to get back at Logan.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't care about that. I want to build this. Like you guys said that we were going to build a company together. He was the only one that was like, that had that narrative. And even just to be outside of the clutch of that organization and that family business, like he's the only one that got out and wanted to get out. Like the other two are firmly there. Like Logan, I mean, Kendall, who knows what he's thinking now, but he's not happy about being out. Like he was actually,
but that was like his whole identity.
Genuinely happy to move on to something else.
Yeah.
Like, so I think that's huge for these siblings. Okay, we're happy with that. Ron Weasley.
All right, so he started out, he's a Weasley.
He's a Weasley.
Not all that courageous, actually.
Especially
at the start.
Yeah.
Like really scared, like, you know, didn't want to go.
When I make my move.
Yeah. But starting out like, fluffy, like going, but like, he's just always scared. To, at the end, like showed some real bravery. He killed like 2 Horcruxes.
Well, that, but also he wanted to murder Death Eaters. Like he wanted them dead. Right? Remember, like in that station, like, what are we gonna do to this guy? Like, how do we take care of him? And they're like, I think Hermione was like, let's just get rid of their memories. And he's like, wait, but like, what if he's the one that killed Mad Eye? Like, what would you do to him? And like, so he was like ready to like really take revenge. And I don't know if at that point they'd killed one of his brothers already, or if that happens right at the end. It's the final battle that he dies at? Okay, so it didn't happen yet. But he was already there. Like he was like, I'm ready to kill these people. And Harry wasn't even there. And I think Sirius was gone at this point. Right, so it's like, yeah. So I think there's, I don't know if that's development, but it's definitely, compared to who he was, like that's a huge change.
I think for sure.
Right?
I don't know if I call it remarkable. Oh.
You don't think so? To be like this timid person to being like, I
don't think it was that
Avada you.
I don't think it was timid. I think he was just scared.
Okay, to being a scared person to being someone that is willing to kill another person.
But that's out of fear. It's not like.
But there's a difference between fear and running, which is what we were seeing, and then fear and like
vengeance,
taking action, right? Where like him in the Forbidden Forest with the spiders and how he was scared there is very different from him being scared of these Death Eaters and being like, all right, what should we do with him? Like that was like a.
I think because I just have higher standards for him because he's like one of the three.
Yeah.
I feel like I would expect more for Remarkable Evolution. But when I'm comparing him and Neville, pretty similar actually.
Right.
In how they, I'll put up Remarkable. But I was hesitant because, I think I just had higher standards for him.
That's fair. Okay, Snape. That's the last one. And we're specifically talking about movie Snape. I know there's a lot of debate about who this guy is. But let's start him at B.
See, this is tough because knowing what we know,
it's
like, that was him the whole time.
No, exactly. And it's because this one is tough because the movie only showed certain parts of him. Whereas like he was always doing that thing and there's explanations for why he was doing things the way that he was doing them. So he was always acting in that character. So I don't know if it's necessarily like an evolution of his, but it's like more was revealed about who he is.
Right.
And
okay, so maybe we just base this on what was revealed over time.
I don't know if we can. I'm actually not thinking if he
should you have even put it? Yeah.
Like it might have been static. Because
he's been that guy.
Like if we know who he is, if we kind of look at who he is at the end, and we look at the things that he was doing throughout the movies, nothing really changed.
Motives were the same.
Like the motives were the same. I don't think anything really changed in how he acted throughout the movie. How do you feel about this list? Is there anyone that's like burning that you really want to change where they are? I'm happy with S tier.
I'm happy with that too. I'm looking at
iffy about Carol, but I think.
Why? Do you think she's A?
I don't know, just compared to the other two. But I'm not mad at keeping her there.
Compared to the other two?
Richie and
you think theirs was greater growth than Carol's?
Actually, no, never mind. I'm thinking about season 1 now. Okay, I'm fine with that. Cool. Let us know what you thought. Did we have people in wildly wrong places? Like, would you have put them in other places? Let us know. Always happy to kind of be convinced otherwise, but I think we were landing on a pretty happy spot here. So, yeah. Cool.
Okay, cool.
Right, well, hopefully you enjoyed that one. That was completely new for us. If this is something that you do enjoy, we'll probably try it a couple more times to see. It's not always going to be about character arc. We're going to do different things and revisit these characters in different situations. But we'll check it out. We'll see how it goes and go from there. But hopefully you enjoyed watching with us. And we will see you for the next one. Peace.